take one.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So we're going through our startup routines. And again, because this is a teaching and training facility, we teach media, not just law. So, right now we're using cameras and learning about how to do our setups, keeping things real simple and basic, but we're working through our processes. So
Yes.
we left off yesterday. We did the law of leprosy, which is the law of infection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where are we now?
14:21, Leviticus.
Okay. Now, as the law of leprosy, it tells you that this person needs lambs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if this person is poor? What if he don't have the money for lambs and he don't have lambs? What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
If 14 and 21. But if he be a poor man, and his hand have not sufficiency, let him take one lamb for the trespass offering, to be an elevation to make atonement for him, and 1/10 of flour mingled with oil for the mincha, and a log of oil, olive oil, and 2 turtle doves. All right. So this person needs 3
Yes.
sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a lamb and 2 turtle doves or 3 lambs to deal with an infection.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. We're not going to
Deviate.
deviate. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to make this feel any better or like it's not something that it is, because it is what it is. Okay?
Right.
He needs 3. And he has to let 1 be for the sin offering and 1 for the burnt offering.
Okay.
Bottom line, and he shall bring them on the 8th day for his purification unto the priest at the door of the tabernacle of ordinance. And the priest shall take the lamb for the trespass offering and the log of oil and uplift them an elevation before Yah, and the slayer shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering. And the priest shall take the blood of the trespass offering and put it upon the middle cartilage of the right ear
Mm-hmm.
of him who is to be cleansed, and on the middle joint of his right hand, and in the middle of his right foot. So it's the ear, the hand, and the foot. Then the priest shall pour some of the oil in his right hand into the priest's left hand. So he's going to take the oil in his right hand and pour it into his left hand. Then the priest will take the finger of the right hand and he shall sprinkle the oil of that oil in his left ear 7 times before Yah, and the priest shall put of the oil that is in his hand on the middle cartilage of the ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the middle joint of his right hand, and on the middle joint of his right foot, upon whereon he first put the blood of the trespass offering. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I want you to understand something. We're going to be very clear about this
Yes, sir.
because I read this blood twice. I'm going to say it again. We're not going to let this blood get all dry and crusty.
Right.
It don't just sit up there. So if you put it up there, it's going to wipe it off. We put it there, we're going to wipe it off. We put it on the foot, we wipe it off. Okay? The
Mm-hmm.
priests have rags. We have cloth for this.
Yes.
Ah.
29.
And what remaineth of the oil that is upon the priest's hands, he shall put upon the head of him who is to be cleansed to atone for him. And the priest shall perform the offering of the large turtle doves or of the pigeons of which his hand had sufficiency. That which his hand was sufficient to bring, let him bring, one for the sin and one for the burnt offering, with the oblation of the mincha, which is the manna or the bread. And let the priest make atonement for him who is to be cleansed before Yah. This is the decree of instruction for him in whom is the plague of leprosy or the plague of infection. If there be not sufficiency in his hands to bring the greater oblations, let him bring of these oblations which are easier and which are here explained on the day of his purification. And Yah spake with Moshe and with Aaron, saying, when you have entered upon the land of Canaan, which I give you for a possession, and the man hath builded a house. By rapine finds that I have put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your inheritance, and he who owneth the house shall come to the priest, saying, there is a plague, as it appeareth to me in the house, and then the priest shall direct that they make the house empty before the priest cometh to inspect the house, that all that is in the house may not be condemned as unclean. And after that, the priest shall go and inspect the house, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague be like the color of the two beans crushed with stone, or goeth lower than the four walls, or green or red, and its appearance be deeper than the walls, the priest will go out from the house to the door of the house and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest returning on the seventh day shall look, and behold, if the breath of the plague has increased in the wall of the house, then the priest shall direct that they break out the stones which have the plague in them, and throw them without to the city into an unclean place, and they shall scrape the inside of the house round about, and throw the dust which they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. And let me slow down. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot here because
Hold on. Let me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna unpack this.
yes.
So I'm reading, but I'm reading till we get to some point of closure, because I don't want to start interjecting and going ahead, because I understand what this is teaching. So first of all, when you enter the land of Canaan, which Yah will give you for a possession, right? And a man who buildeth a house, right? And you have to understand, right? It says he builded a house by rapine, right? So if you take the house by war, okay?
Yes.
So you say, what happens? Well, wars happen, okay?
Yes.
We have to fight with this person and get them out. What they make war with us, we make war with them. War happens sometimes. There's disagreements. This the way of nations. It's going to happen. All right? Maybe this man was a rapist. Maybe this man a child molester. But either way, we come, we make war with this man, we drive him out the house, we kill him. Now we have an infection in the house.
Yeah.
Because he died in the house. So now we have to clean the house. Okay?
Yes.
So this is where this comes from.
Okay.
All right? So You took it by the house by rapine, so you took it by war. This is not the house that that you built from the ground up. This is not the house that you buy. So right now we're coming back and we're coming back into the land and we're buying land and building houses from the ground up. This way you don't have to deal with this. Joshua had to deal with this.
Wow.
Okay? Moses have to deal with this. Us, this generation at this time, we don't have to deal with this. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Where'd I leave off? So you scrape the walls and take them out to an unclean place, and they shall take other stones and insert them in by the former stones, and let other mortar be taken, and the house be replastered. But if the plague return and increase in the house after the stones have been broken out, and after the house have been scraped, and after that has been replastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague hath increased in the house, it is a plain leprosy in the house, it is unclean. Then they shall destroy that house, and its stones, and its timbers, and all the plaster of the house and lies shall remove it without the city to an unclean place. All right? And whosoever goeth into the house in the days that it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. Okay? And whosoever sleepeth in the house shall wash his clothes, and whoever eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. So these are the people who have to go and work on it, right? You got to go into the house to break it down. So we can't get this out. We can't get the smell of death out. We can't get, this mold is keep coming back.
Right. I was getting ready to ask you, is mold?
It can be mold. It can be a lot of things. So if we can't get this out, we tearing the house down. The whole thing. That's it. There's a lot of people who have mold poisonings.
Yes.
You breathing this stuff in. This stuff causes asthma and a bunch of other diseases. This is an infection. We can get this out, tear this down, take everything out, get rid of everything, and build a new house here. All right?
48.
But if having gone in, the priest looketh, and behold, the breath of the plague has not increased in the house, and the house have been plastered, then the priest shall make the house to be clean, for the plague hath healed. So again, if you go inside and he sees it's not spreading, it's just like right in this area, right? Then it's not spreading, it stopped, then it stopped. And then he shall take for the purification of the house 2 turtle doves, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the slayer shall kill 1 turtle dove in a vessel of earthenware with spring water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the bird that had been killed, and in the spring water, sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall purify the house with the blood, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet, and the living bird he shall send forth out of the town upon the face of the field, and shall atone for the house, and it shall be clean. But if it is to be that the house will be again struck with leprosy, the bird on that day will return and may be fit for food. But the bird that was killed shall the priest bury in the presence of the owner of the house. This is the decree of instruction in the law for every plague of leprosy and the scorbutus. Okay? So, scorbutus is scurvy, right? But this is scorbutus as it is in the house. Okay? All right? This is also, and for leprosy in apparel or in the house, and for tumors, and for scars, and for inflamed blotches, that the priest may teach the people to discern between the day of darkness in which they may not be able to see the plague and the day of light, and between a man who is unclean and a man who is clean. This shall be the decree of instruction for the leprosy, for the infection. Okay? And Yahweh Moses saying, figures of Israel, election in his flesh. All right. So we'll start on that tomorrow. That's a whole nother thing. That's,
Now here you have the priests as building inspectors and construction.
Okay, we discussed this yesterday. All right.
Oh goodness.
I did a lot of reading, and now I need to do some explaining. Right? So all of you who are from the house of Levi, I want you to understand something.
Wow.
We have to go through building inspection. We have to go through medical inspection, medical rights and medical treatments.
Quality control.
Quality control.
Yeah.
You're going to need to have some expertise. Every time I'm talking about what a problem is in a person's body, you're going to have some medical knowledge. Okay? Some medical knowledge about this. And I'm not talking about you need to go to a school of medicine.
Right.
Right? We're going to have to re-educate you in herbal medicines. It's going to be a very deep practice, and this is why it's divided. Because instead of getting the priest who knows about medicine for the body, we're going to get a different one that knows about it for the building. This is expertise. You listen.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about now bodies, peoples, and infections, and in buildings, and what we're looking for, and what is the problem. That's civil engineering.
Wow.
This civil engineering, you're going to need to understand what the problem is with the building, how deep it is, where is it coming from, how to rectify it. Because even though it says, okay, knock this out, you need to know how to take out this if you can take it out, because there's load-bearing walls.
Right.
So you need to know at what point can this be remedied? Can we fix it? Because when we go to tear out the walls, you got to give instruction on where we need to put in the supports, what we need to take out, what we building back in, right? Everything we can't lose people because you sitting over here fumbling over the pages of the book. Yeah, we'll knock it out. Nah.
Yeah.
There's some expertise that is going to be needed in these areas. This is some highly skilled work. Okay? I know you're probably more interested in what's going on with the blood and the birds.
Getting the tides.
Okay? And what's going on with the sacrificial parts. But the shamanic practices and the signs that are to be given to show you that there is a problem and that a problem has been remedied, that a problem has the shamanic parts of this. And I'm using the word shamanic as like, because it's like a shaman like. right?
Mm.
Just because it has these traditional practices for the signs and what's happening here, then that doesn't mean that we have relegated the actual technical aspects out.
Right, right. Because if someone has leprosy and you put them out, it's not you just leave them there and let them go. No, you have to do examination. You have to know what medical treatments to
Treatments,
give
what
them.
herbs are we giving them?
Yes, yes.
Listen, I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. Just because somebody is set aside to be unclean for 7 days, they are receiving treatment.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not sitting over here.
Yes.
They're getting a medicine, they're getting an herb. You need to know how to treat this person.
Mm-hmm.
There's a treatment. Now we're dealing with it, and we come to the another part after we dealt with all of this in people, and then in fabrics, and now in buildings.
Wow.
No, but this person, when you come in to do this demolition work in the building, you have to understand that now the people in this building that are doing this work, they have to be going through a process of prevention
Mm.
so that they don't get any infection,
Yes.
right? Cleanness, they're not carrying this home. There's also making sure that this building doesn't collapse on those people.
Yeah.
You tearing out walls. Okay, we need to know which wall, you need to know which wall you can tear out and which wall you can't.
Right, right. And even and as well as when if the house has to be completely torn down, you have to know about demolition because there is a certain technique that comes with demolition. You just don't go and tear it down. You have to
I gotta, you gotta tear the house down and carry the whole house away. You know what else gotta be done?
what?
You gotta build this house
House
back.
back. Yeah, yeah.
No, we're talking about as a community. You
Wow.
know, like we'll be right back after this. Give me 1 second.
Wow. Rights, but I now have a complete different respect and regard for the Levitical family tribe.
So when you're talking about, we're talking about and picking up where we left off, right? So you've torn this man's house down. You told him there's nothing we could do here. This house have to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we as a community, we're coming together. We have to tear down this man's house and remove it, and we have to carry it outside to an unclean place and dump it there.
Mm,
This house finish.
mm.
Okay, where's he going to live?
You have to stay with
We
one
got
of
to
us.
build a new one.
A new one, yeah.
We got to put this man back in the house. We tore the house down. We have to put it back.
Mm-hmm.
As a community, we tore it down as a community.
Right.
We got to build it back as a community. We don't just tear the house down and tell this man, hey, sorry, good luck, buddy.
Right, right. As well as provide him a place to stay while his house is being rebuilt.
And obviously, like, this is why I say you have to have, because we're rebuilding the community now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I say you have to start to donate because we have to buy the lambs, the sheeps, the birds, the bees. We have to plant and sow. We have to be ready for you to come so that as you coming in, there's a place to stay and then we continue to work for the others. Otherwise, you're going to be facing a world of suffering, right? Because believe me, I'm not going to accept you if I haven't prepared for you.
Yeah.
I have to have a provision for you to even accept you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I have to have a provision for you in order to accept you.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So what happens when, somebody showed up and we have a space? we accept you. Somebody showed up. We don't have no space. I don't know what to tell you, but I cannot take you like this.
Right.
I don't have anything for you.
Don't wait till hell break loose and now everybody want to come. You know, we need your assistance right now so that we can prepare the place so that when you do come, you have a place.
Right.
You know, but unfortunately, a lot of us want to wait till hell's breaking loose and they want to flock. And then if it's not there, see, I told you they wasn't doing so. Well, you didn't do your part.
And you have to do your part.
Yeah.
You have to see the destruction coming, but you have to know that there is a preparation. There
Yes.
is a preparation to get through the storm. There is no way. I'm not running from the storm.
Right.
I'm running to the storm.
Yes.
What? There's no way to get around this. If you run away from the storm or try to avoid it, you end up staying in the storm longer than you had to.
You know, like the clip that we saw with the Mexicans, how all of them.
Okay, first of all, we got to set it up.
Okay.
So we saw a clip, and the Mexicans among themselves are beginning to talk. And instead of coming into America, they're actually leaving.
Yes.
They are taking their money, their supplies, the stuff that they were working with, and they're now traveling back to Mexico to get out of the country.
Yeah, they have somewhere to go.
The Mexicans got a place to go.
They have their own country, their own nation, their own kingdom to return to.
The Chinese is collecting the Chinese.
Yeah, everyone's preparing.
The Indians is collecting the Indians because the Indian is their priority. And you know who's left stuck out
Us. Oh my goodness.
with nowhere to go? We are. And you don't have a place to go because you refuse to accept this one truthful, lawful instruction. One, you are Arab. Right?
Right. And you refuse to accept it.
You don't want to accept it. You are Arab. That's one. And two, you belong to an Arab nation. We are Arabized. You may not want to accept that reality, but if all of the Ishmaelites and the sons of Edom and Mount Seir is in Saudi, so all of Saudi, if these people are Arab, the house of Jacob is Arab too. This is attached. We are attached to Africa. You can walk to Egypt.
Right. And that's the word. We're attached to Africa, but we're not African. We're Arab.
I'm not going to say we're attached to Africa. I'm not saying we're not African.
Okay.
I'm saying, right, is Africa is a continent and this is attached to it.
Okay, I understand.
You see, the Middle East is a new invention. So we are attached. Okay? I'm not a son of Ham that I should be on the other side of the Nile River.
Okay.
If you don't know the borders, the Nile River divides what belongs to Kemet in Mitzrayim and to Cush, going that way. That belongs to them. The Nile River on the west belongs to the house of Shem. Going all the way over to the Rafa Mountains in India. So now if you don't know what the borders of Shem's lands is and who receives what, then you cannot talk. So now you have to understand this is where we are from. This is who we are. I made a song called The Call of Musa, and I showcased the beauty of the land, even as a desert, telling you, listen, you're from here.
Mm.
You're from here. This is what we have to do. This is what we have to buy back. Why? It's mostly our brothers here. We have one invading force, these fake Jews,
Mm.
this cancerous people, right? Sitting on Jerusalem. That is just they only have Jerusalem under their control. And when I say Jerusalem, I don't mean that little town city.
Right. It's the whole
The
thing.
whole thing that they own, the whole country is just the city of Jerusalem.
Mm.
That's Jerusalem and its environs.
Mm.
So if you don't know, that's a whole nother lesson. We could talk about how David got the land of Gilead or Gilead from the border of Lebanon and how it went down to Mitzpeh and how it extended even further south into the land of Judah, which went into the Sinai Peninsula. We can go into that, but that is all just Jerusalem that they got. That is not the entirety of the nation. However, if you want to know what the entirety of the nation is, right, as we continue reading, it's going to tell you.
Mhm. Yes, it does.
It's going to tell you the borders. I'm not going to hide that from you. So we as a people have to come back and we're dealing with our brethren. I just have to buy the land, okay? I got this. I buy this land. I dwell here. That's it. You can dwell peaceably. We don't need to make war with the Middle East. We have the same enemy.
Mhm. Mhm.
These people that's coming over here colonizing, this our enemy. We don't have to deal with them. We can come over here. We are a kingdom people. You have the kingdom of Saudi. You have the kingdom of Jordan. You
Mhm.
have the kingdom of Dubai, the
Mhm.
kingdom of the Arab Emiratis, the
Mhm.
kingdom of Oman. We
Mhm.
are over here with kingdom people
Right, because we're kingdom
because
people.
we're kingdom people.
Mm.
We don't have these election things.
Right.
No, there's one family, they're given the right to go and do certain things. The entirety of everybody sits with them.
So let me ask you, why do they call here the Middle East?
This is an invention by white people. They like to
Mm.
rename stuff and
Wow.
call it what they want to call it. But okay, if you're going to call it the Middle East because it was the Levant or the Middle Corridor,
Mm.
right? This thing connects Africa and Europe, but it's its own continent, right?
Mm.
It's surrounded by the Rafa Mountains, and the Rafa Mountains go all the way up through the Caucasus Mountains.
Mm.
Just because our border stops at the Tigris and the Euphrates, it doesn't stop there for the land of Shem.
Okay.
You see, our border stops at the Tigris and the Euphrates. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
our border doesn't go past the Persian Gulf. Our border doesn't go past the Mediterranean Sea or the Nile River. Our border.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you have to know the difference between what's your border. So anywhere that's available or open to you, you're allowed to go and buy land and restore your kingdom.
So pretty much us Abraham being given Canaan, all of Canaan, was because that's the portion of land that Canaan took from Shem back with the divisions of the land with Noah. Is that what it is?
So, from the land divisions with Noah, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to come to and you're going to see that they were divided into three major parts: Europe and Asia, right? Then you have, and that's East Asia. Then you have West Asia
Mm-hmm.
and Northeast Africa, where it meets.
Okay.
This was Shem's portion.
Okay.
Now, Canaan is actually a son of Ham. And he took the land first. So Shem was a small group. Canaan was the first and the first to have large numbers. So he and Ham's sons, they were the first to have large numbers. And it's the same thing. It's no different. I'll tell you exactly how it happened. They got with some Nephilims. They white. Okay? Now I'm not saying everybody with white skin, because my brother have a white skin, but it's darker. He's a light skinned black. But the white, these Nephilims. And I'm not saying all of them bad, but the leaders of them are. So these Nephilims, they come in and they make agreements, and you start breeding up real fast because they do the same thing. No family values, just whoredom and children everywhere to just make babies and just grow up.
Transgression.
Now you multiply fast and you fall faster. So it works. Okay? You multiply fast, you fall fast. So now the first kingdom of Ham is past. And now you start to see that no matter what, these same people that you grew with don't let you come back into power no more. And now you forever stuck with the mindset that you need them to get this back together. They make you dependent upon them, and then you can never get them out.
So we have to be freed from that mindset.
That's the mindset you got to get rid of.
Yeah.
You see, so in rebuilding, there's a lot that has to rebuild.
Yes, it is.
Okay, we have a law, but the law is very densely packed. And in unpacking it, you're going to need some tools and some expertise in many different areas.
Yes.
All right. Now, we do train people in some areas, and we know some people are going to come with expertise in areas. And we're just going to modify their expertise according to the law. It may take some things away, and it's going to add some things. But your understandings in certain areas is going to be the same. I am an engineer. Okay? And using my understanding of engineering sciences, then I can apply this and say, oh, the law says to sit here with my engineering and don't touch these things. Okay, so then I just don't touch what the law puts out and I keep what the law puts in. But that rebuilding is the same element. So as we're coming back in, and I'm saying we're rebuilding, I'm in a building. We have engineers here all day.
Yes.
There's nothing in my building except for engineers and diplomats.
Right. Right.
That's it. So I'm all the time talking with nobility, and I'm all the time talking with engineers. We don't keep fools around. Now I'm reading you the law, and I'm telling you, you have to come into your nobility, and you're either going to have to choose what you're going to be. You're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a diplomat. Either way, it doesn't make me any difference.
Right. That's why our administration training
Is
is
paramount.
so important. Yes.
This is why I'm starting off and I'm just reading the law and giving you the overview. Because we're going to go back and then we're going to go through some judgments and we're going to judge from this law. And you're going to see, because I know what you're doing at home. You're reading the law and then you're going to compare it to Slim Jimmy. And you're going to say, the fools are going to say, how come they got all this extra information? There's something wrong with them. That's a fool. Any truth seeker will say, they got so many details. It's proven to be true by the details. You don't need mysticism. Is witchcraft real? Yes. Does witchcraft work for us as a people? No. It works for those it was given to. It doesn't work for us.
Yes.
Doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And when put into competition, what they know works cannot overcome us as long as we are in the right.
As long as we're in the right.
We in our right. If you don't know your right, you don't know where you need to be, you don't know what you need to be doing, if you're not in the right geographical location, then you're in the wrong. Right now, as a nation, we are in the wrong.
We are.
We are not, as a nation, collectively coming back and sending some small amount of money to buy land and build for ourselves for our return. You want somebody else to pay for it. You want another nation to pay for it. This is not the instruction. This is your land, you pay for it. You, the person, you, the congregation. I don't care, you Bantu, Igbo, Lemba, Black American, Hebrew Israelite. I don't care what you call yourself. You know you belong to Bani Israel, whether you Bani people, Yakuba tribe, you stay where you are, you wrong. If you believe that you understand something greater than the word of God, than the law that I have in my possession, then you're playing a dangerous game with the wrath of God. Not me.
Ooh.
We're here, we're reading about the Levitical rite, and you're finding they have to be experts in many different fields of aspects, not just, everything making sacrifice, everything cooking.
Right. And even with that alone, you have to have some expertise. Because even like with the cutting and the slaying of the lamb, there's a certain technique. You just don't go and kill it.
Yeah,
There's a technique to this stuff.
there is a traditional right to everything. So how we do our cuts and how we prepare our foods, how we grow our foods, all of this must be in our possessions. It's not going to be in your possession if you don't have land.
Right.
I know everybody wants to think right now we're getting ready to come into the greatest technological era ever. We can make a move with technology. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't get your head out the clouds,
Because we're agricultural people.
agriculture is key.
Yeah.
If you don't get your hands on this land and begin to nurture and grow, building our own cisterns, you're not going to make it past the next phase. I'm telling you right now. So I know some of you conspiracy theorists, let me help you understand. Okay? Let me put down my little tablet. Let me help you understand. So let's take The Matrix. Okay, so in this movie, The Matrix, they show you the truth. Okay? All right, everybody is going into technology. We have artificial intelligence now. This is taking the world by storm. It's all over YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, it's everywhere. Everybody is now creating avatars. They're submitting their faces to be scammed and creating all these avatars. Beautiful pictures. I see all of them. They look great. Guess what? All of this artificial intelligence, you're fueling it.
Yes,
You're making the artificial intelligence stronger. You're questioning, you're accepting of answers. Now the artificial intelligence is taking control over you. You think you're controlling it, and the only thing you want is the easiest answer for it to control you because you want to try to make something off of it. Okay, no problem. You are submitting yourself now to the matrix. Oh, but there's somebody sitting in front of you today, and Zion will be built.
Yes, it will.
And we will be 100% organic.
Yes, we
We
will.
have our own law, we have our own way, and we will unplug from the matrix when you go in. You're not in it yet, but you on the way. We will unplug. Zion will be built. Zion was built by a masterful engineer in the movie. They didn't even know or understand how Zion got built in the movie. He was a masterful engineer who built it. All they know is the engineer that built it, and the oracle kept telling them and kept helping them because they needed a preservation. I'm that oracle and I'm the engineer. I'm telling you, Zion will be built. It's not going to be built on the west coast of Africa. It's not going to be built in South Africa. You're not going to take over none of Ham's land.
You sure ain't. Ooh.
I'm telling you now, you're not going to do it. It's not going to be in Asia, Far East Asia. No, it's going to be in the same place where it was before. Now, you can delude yourself and say it's anywhere.
Because our land is not lost.
No, no,
We're
no, no,
lost.
no. You can delude yourself and say it's anywhere. You can talk about Tataria, mud floods, or anything else. I promise you, if you get up and take a survey, you'll find it's in the same place where it always was, with the same people that it always was with.
Oh my goodness. Our people.
Everybody talks about Abraham like Abraham only had Isaac. You are delusional
Yeah.
because Isaac has the covenant and Ishmael has the covenant.
Yes, they do.
You don't know? Just because one leaves doesn't mean the other one
Left.
left. He's still sitting in the same spot. You can't move him. So this is our time for today.
Yes.
So we're going to wrap this up. And I'm going to say this. You know, if you don't prepare for yourself, you're going to get what you got, because I have to accept those who prepare. I'm sure there'll be some who prepare and don't make it for whatever reason. I'm sure. But they prepared, and I'm sure someone of their family will receive that benefit.
Yes.
So you can't come in and try to slide in and mooch.
Right.
It's a difficult slide, but we will see.
We shall see.
One step at a time, one day at a time. I left the Cash App, if you have Cash App, in the box below. If not, you can go to our tree link and click on our donations and make a donation today. Every donation counts. This is a large multinational project. We are building very big
Yes.
livestock farms, and we will be opening next fall. We're going to see.
Yes.
And you're going to see too, because this war is heating up.
Yes, it is.
In the movie, it was a great war, and it scorched the earth. It didn't scorch everywhere. I'm going to tell you right now, you can go ahead and believe what you want. I promise you, this war is coming.
Yes, it is.
When this war comes, you don't want to be on a bad square. A lot of you going to be crying when a lot of what you hope to happen doesn't. One step at a time, one day at a time.
Yes.